So the other thing to say, really, I suppose, what we were thinking about, we sort of focused on 5 main ingredients, didn't we, of applied linguistics, and there's information about this in the introduction of the book, which, as is often the case, perhaps with introductions, was, I think, one of the bits that we wrote last.
That's right.
In working through the other chapters, the 12 main chapters within the book, it was the final chapter, which Chris has just referred to, in which we feature the 5 practitioners, and the introduction, I think, the beginning and the end of the book, which came last. And so we've got 5 different ingredients of applied linguistics. Do you want to say anything about?
Well, I'll start off.
Are?
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one was, well, the centrality of client needs is what we titled that section, and yeah, that is central, I think, to our understanding of the discipline. Is that even though we may not everyone might like the choice of the term client, because we don't really mean to imply that there are market forces necessarily driving, well, certainly not most of applied linguistics, but certainly the people, the users of the language, of whatever language, who are experiencing problems or needs which applied linguistics can help them resolve. And yeah, it has to start there, I think, with language problems, and language needs and the client's experience, right?
Right.
I think that's where we started from, and that's what makes it so different from theoretical and general linguistics. No?
Right. Yes, and it's often actual needs, but as importantly, perceptions about needs, isn't it? Not just with perhaps the client themselves, but with the people that are surrounding them as well.
That's right.
Which makes it often a very complex, complex problems that we're dealing with. Yeah. The second ingredient was what we're calling a pragmatic orientation. And I think this goes back to the mapping metaphor, actually, that maps are not neutral. They can't be neutral representations of territory. There inevitably a selection of features. And what we're admitting that our presentation of applied linguistics is necessarily a selection of features and of aspects and of ways of seeing and thinking about language. But we've been open about that as far as we can be, and we've also tried to encourage applied linguists in their own work to think through their theoretical orientation to the situation in which they're facing, and to try and surface some of those assumptions about language.
And ideological as well, right?
Exactly, yes, that's what I mean. That some of their theoretical, ideological assumptions about language, about groups of people, etc., and the interaction between those two, and to be pragmatic in their choice of different approaches, depending on what particular approach might benefit a group of clients, which is kind of linked to social and cognitive embeddedness, isn't it? Yeah,
which is the third kind of central feature of our view of applied linguistics. Now that we, I remember, thrashing this out a number of times now in the course of writing of the book.
Yeah.
But because the two approaches are seen to be incommensurable. No, the great paradigm gap between sociocultural theory and more cognitively oriented theory. But we've been clear from the beginning that even though the theory might not fit together naturally, certainly language itself naturally and obviously has to be seen both as a cognitive and as a sociocultural phenomenon. No? And in so many areas of applied linguistics, you ignore one of them at your peril. That's what we found. No.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The fourth ingredient was to do with role shifting and collaboration. And again, I think that goes back to your points about where the book originally came from. Was that you had this group of quite diverse people, all interested in language issues, language problems, working together. One thing that's been borne out by our experience as applied linguists, my experience has mainly been English language teaching. English is an additional language, but increasingly I became aware of other roles which I was taking on within the classroom, and needing to know more about the practices within those areas. So I've had students, for example, with hearing difficulties and very little experience or knowledge of what that means, and where I've been able to, in the past I've had to try and find out about those issues and integrate them into my teaching. One by role shifting, we want to make the point that applied linguists, although they may have a particular professional focus, they may find themselves calling on different professional areas, and they find themselves shifting between different roles.
Yeah, increasingly that's happening.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And also I think the other part of that was the practitioner part and the sort of more theoretical part, the exploring what research has shown about a particular problem, or trying to understand more about the way researchers approached a particular problem. So moving, I think we make the example of moving in the morning between reading some, maybe an academic paper on a particular issue, in the afternoon in the classroom, in the evening chatting with a speech and language therapist online, who knows, about a particular issue that you faced in the classroom.
That's right.
Role shifting collaboration.
Yeah. And ultimately, of course, we're all students, aren't we? I mean, I've learned so much from you in the last couple of years.
And vice versa.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, of course. Yes, and necessarily so.
Yes. No, we continue to be. And the last feature is mode of inquiry. Do you want to address that one?
Well, that sort of bundles the first four ingredients, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So the fifth ingredient is about how the first four interact with each other and create a way of being, a way of practicing, a way of seeing the world as necessarily complex, best tackled in collaboration with other people, needing to be understood from a socio-cultural and a cognitive or psychological perspective, etc. So I think we just bundled all the first four ingredients into that fifth one and said, actually, the addition of those four ingredients, that the result of those first four ingredients is a particular way of being. Yeah,
absolutely.
Which we thought really summed up what it means to be an applied linguist. Yeah. Okay. Well, we hope that you enjoy reading the book, and as importantly, we hope you find it useful. Yeah. I don't know which is the most important, enjoyment or usefulness.
I think both. Both. And that the process continues now, even after the last page, that you get involved through the website.
Yes. So we look forward to seeing your stories and viewing your contributions on that website.
And interacting with you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.